I like a bougie granola as much as the next person. I just don't like the high price tag it normally comes with. That's why today I'm showing you how to make an easy and healthy homemade granola that's also vegan friendly. This is another recipe for real life. I'm Christina and you're here on The Main.
Can I come in your kitchen, baby, and cook all night long with you?
I've been making this granola for years. I am never without it in my kitchen. It's great on its own. It's good with yogurt. It's good with some almond milk, some regular milk, whatever you want. This granola is going to scratch that itch. First thing you need to do when you're making granola is start with your wet ingredients. Coconut oil. I love to use coconut oil because it's got a nice clean flavor and it's good in high heat situations. It's also a little bit healthier. This is 1 cup of coconut oil going into a medium saucepan. I like to measure out my coconut oil first because then it makes it easier for me to get out my sugars. For sugar, I'm using 2. I like a mixture of honey and maple syrup. If you're doing this completely vegan, you're gonna want all maple syrup. And I do a half a cup of each to equal a full cup of sugar. These 2 sugars go right into the pot. I'm adding 2 tablespoons of cinnamon, and this is where you can add really whatever spices you really like. If you like cardamom, add some cardamom. I'm gonna add a little nutmeg because that's what I prefer. But this is a really customizable recipe to your taste. I know this seems like a lot of cinnamon, but we're making a lot of granola. I'm freshly grating about a half a teaspoon of nutmeg. Oh no. It fell in. I'm gonna freshly grate half a teaspoon of whole nutmeg. Now make sure you get the whole nutmeg. It's really worth it. I'm adding a generous splash of vanilla. This is optional and I'm using my homemade vanilla. Let me know if you guys want a video on this later on. I can show you how to do it. Final ingredient in here is 1 teaspoon of salt. Make sure you're using a good salt. I'm using pink Himalayan today. Kosher will work really well also. Now that everything's in the pot, I'm gonna take it to the stove. You wanna put this on a medium heat and wait until you start to see bubbles. Make sure all of your sugars are mixed in, all of your coconut oil is dissolved, and at that point, you can pull it off of the heat. Time to turn our attention to the oats and the mix-ins. This flavorful mixture has to go on something, right? I like to use regular old-fashioned oats. And this is a large flake oat, not quick cooking, not instant. You wanna get the best oats that you can find. These are from a Canadian brand. They're organic, they're sprouted, and they're also glyphosate-free, which is really important when you're talking wheat. With 8 full cups of oats, you're gonna wanna use the biggest bowl that you have. Now you get to choose your mix-ins. I like to use slivered almonds, pumpkin seeds, and sunflower seeds. You want your mix-ins to total 3 cups. So I'm using a cup of each, but use whatever you want and whatever's gonna roast up nice and taste good with that cinnamon, that honey, that maple syrup. I mean, it's not hard. This is the fun part. You pour all of your sugar syrup mixture onto your oats, your mix-ins, and then you give it a really good toss. You want everything to be evenly coated. Imagine it were turning in a drum like one of those fancy granolas. You want to mimic that same motion. This is my granola pan. It's the biggest one I own. It's 22 inches by 16 inches. You're probably working with one that's half this size, so you might have to bake your granola in 2 batches if you don't have 2 pans, but that's okay, you'll get there. I'm putting this granola into this pan in a nice even layer. And as this bakes, we're going to toss the granola, rotate it so that it really gets evenly brown, golden, and delicious. Once I have it in an even layer, I like to take my spatula and just rough up the surface so that it's not completely flat. I find it roasts better this way. Perfect, this looks great. With your oven at 375, I like to bake this granola in 4 stages. Stage 1 on the very bottom rack for 15 minutes, remove at the end of that 15 minutes and give it a good toss. Stage 2, same thing, bottom rack for 15 minutes and then another good toss. Stage 3, move it up to the middle rack of your oven and cook it for 7 minutes. Final toss, then another 7 minutes on the middle rack. Your granola is completely done after 45 minutes, but make sure you use your nose. That'll tell you a lot too. This will be the best at-home bougie granola you've ever had. Take a look at this. Beautifully golden brown, slightly sweet, ultra crunchy. This smells incredible, guys. I'm gonna let this cool on the pan, and the final thing that I like to do that's completely optional, I'm gonna dust the entire top with hemp hearts. You can add the hemp hearts later, or you can add them right into your big batch of granola. It's just an extra bump of nutrition. You don't even notice that they're there. Wow. Please let me know if you guys make this recipe. And if you like learning more recipes for real life, make sure you subscribe, hit that like button, and ring that little bell so you know every single time we upload. I'm just gonna enjoy the smell of this for the rest of the day. Thank you so much for joining me, guys. I'm Christina, and you are here on The Main.